This last question I'm actually loving. How common is trash talking during games? Other than some showboating during goal celebrations, doesn't seem to happen from watching the telecasts. Do any girls try that to get in opponents' heads, or is that not really part of the women's game? One of the funniest ones that sticks with me, it happened to Meg. It didn't even happen to me. And we were playing Virginia in the ACC tournament, and we were down by like 8 or something. Like there was really we probably weren't coming back that game. And Meg's defender goes,
The Meg Show is on full display in the dome. Let's go!
The Megan to Megan Show continues. Carney to Tyrell.
"Hey guys, welcome back to the Meg Show, week 3, episode 3. How exciting was that? We thought that week 2 was exciting. Week 3. How insane.
Just gets even better and better. Yeah, wow. What a crazy start to the season. Feels like one we haven't seen before. A lot of upsets. The rankings are getting shaken up each week. And honestly, never really know what we're going to get when the rankings come out on Monday. So always look forward to those and seeing where people fall going into the next week.
Yeah, and I think our picks. I think Meg had a pretty successful week this week, I want to say.
Yeah.
If we
I
look back
think
at our
I might have.
picks.
Yeah, I think I might have still been a little shaky. I got
It's
Princeton
like
right.
I've got a bone to pick with Penn State about that one. So,
Yeah,
um,
so
yeah, let's see.
got, I got one,
Actually, I think this is
two,
pretty even for us.
yeah, three. I got three right.
I think I only
No,
got 2.
I got I got one, two. I got four right. I
Yeah,
picked
so
Duke
Meg
and
had a
I
pretty good
picked
week.
Maryland. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so Meg had a pretty good week, which is awesome. Good job, Meg.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
just for the record, Meg clicked that button. I did not click that to clap for her. She clapped for herself.
Oh, we just discovered these little buttons on the side and I love them. Wow. This will be fun.
Oh, that's too good. But exciting week for sure. We have a lot of things to go over before we head into what we're expecting in week 4, which is getting harder and harder to kind of predict, honestly, which I guess is a good thing
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of
We
things.
got some big games coming up this weekend and I was saying to Meg beforehand, I don't know who I'm gonna pick. I get nervous kind of picking these. Not gonna lie, I had a last minute pick for Princeton when I was making this and I was like, I'm gonna have to go with Princeton. And I think Michigan, I was like, I gotta follow my gut. But yeah, these picks are, I actually take them very seriously, just so everyone knows. And I want to get them all right.
Yeah, we don't just go throwing these around. We look
This
into
is
them.
life or death.
This is we
This isn't
take
just
this
some silly little
seriously.
pick. I literally live for this. This is like what I look
This
forward
is the
to,
best part of my
are these
week. This is
picks.
the best part of my week. But
Yeah.
let's get into week 3. Now that we're done giggling about it, let's get into it. One of the first games that we're going to talk about, we got USC at Michigan from this past week. Michigan came out on top 9-3. In the bigger picture, that's a relatively low scoring game, kind of in general.
Mhm.
But Michigan, like we saw them do against Denver, they had a big first quarter for themselves, putting up 4 goals in the first compared to USC. And they kind of just took control from there. Our girl, the goalie, Miss Erin O'Grady, again, having an awesome game. You're not going to use the button?
I'm
Not
trying.
for that one.
Ah, good job, Aaron O'Grady.
9 saves. 9 saves. Another big day defensively for Michigan. And also USC, while they did give up 9 goals, they also had a pretty big defensive day. Both teams were held scoreless in the fourth quarter, which you don't really see that often. Being able to hold both teams for 15 minutes to no goals, it's a long stretch of time without really having a break with the draw or anything. So for those defenses, that's awesome. And the stats across the board, they're pretty even, given like maybe one or two here and there, but pretty even across the board, minus shots. And we had Miss Kaylee Dyer for Michigan putting up a hat trick and an assist. And another name we've been talking about a lot, Jill Smith, big time player for Michigan. She put up 2 goals. Excited to see her kind of keep getting better as the season goes on.
Awesome. Yeah, I was very excited to see Michigan come out on top. Good win for them there. Then we had Penn State at Princeton that also was on Saturday. Princeton came out on top. They won 18-13. It was a comeback win for Princeton though. I had tuned in. I don't remember. Maybe like if it was early on or halfway, I tuned in and saw Penn State was up, and I thought, oh no, I picked Princeton. So yeah, they had me on my toes. So glad Princeton came out on top there. Definitely was a comeback win. Penn State had won the first 3 quarters, and then Princeton scored 9 straight goals and held Penn State to just 4 shots in the fourth quarter. Kristen O'Neill, 4 goals, so big day for her. But other than that, stats were also pretty even in this game. Princeton won draw controls, which you know what we've said in the past. You win the draw controls battle, and you might win the game, and they did. So good win for Princeton.
Might. Yeah,
You're
just
more than
to
likely. You might. You
just
could
to,
also lose.
no, like you very well could win the game if you do win the draw, but you might also lose.
Yeah,
Oh God.
that's such a great point, Meg.
No, thank you for bringing that up, Meg. I really appreciate it. Um, but yeah, just to go off that, Kristen O'Neill, she's been a player for Penn State that we've heard. She's been an impact player since she basically got on campus. So a big day for her, putting up 4 points for Penn State. And something that I kind of thought was interesting was a lot of times if you win 3 quarters of a game, you do win the game. But I also think for Princeton, scoring 9 goals in a row, that is insane. That is huge. And
That's
on the
insane.
like insane. And on the other end of it for Penn State, letting a team kind of go on a 9 goal run, I think there's got to be some sort of momentum shift in between that time frame to kind of slow down that run. You can't let them kind of any team in general, you can't let a team just go on a 5+ goal run because that's going to be really, really, really difficult to dig yourself out of going forward. So I think, and especially though, if that happens kind of later in the game, so I'm assuming these 9 goals in a row were third, fourth quarter because Penn State was up basically the entire game. Um, you just, you got to kind of stop the bleeding there. So I think with that, Penn State would have had a better day, I want to say, because 9 goals is tough.
Yeah. Usually when you
Really
win
tough.
the first 3 quarters, you win the game, but you might not. And they didn't.
But you might not.
You might
Oh
not. You might
God.
also lose, and they sure did. Anyways, Army at Rutgers on Saturday. I thought that was going to be a little bit closer. 16-9. What is that? It's 7 goal difference. So
Quick
yeah,
math.
I don't know. I'm so smart. That's what they teach you at Syracuse. Anyways, yeah, come on, Army. I want you guys to be a little bit better. Come on, be a little closer. Anyways, Rutgers was up the entire game, came out with 5 goals in the first and third, so they were not afraid to shoot that day, that's for sure. Sophomore Lily Dixon tallies career high 6 points in that game. Cassie Spillis, once again, our girl,
Back
Cassidy
at it.
Spillis, had
Let's go,
5 goals.
Cass.
Let's go, Cassidy. Yeah, girl. But yeah, she had 5 goals towards on watch list. So good for her. She's keeping it up there. And then they also crushed the draw 19-10. And you know what we say, if you win draw controls, you might
You
win the
might
game
win the game.
and you might lose it. But they won. So
They won.
there we
That's
go.
too good. Oh my god.
Yeah. Rutgers has not trailed in a single game all season. They're 4 games in, so keeping an eye there. They have a big one coming up this week, which we will talk about later. Army, at least they're good at ground balls. They are a ground ball machine. They won a ton of ground balls. And you know what? Usually if you're winning the ground ball battle, you might win the game. But you also might not. They did not. So Rutgers won 16-9. Was hoping it'd be a little bit closer, but Rutgers will have a good challenge coming up this weekend against Princeton, so we'll get to that later. And then, of course, no bias here, but our favorite game of the week. Syracuse at Notre Dame. And guess who came out on top? Syracuse did. Oh, yeah. Okay. Clearly, I just figured out what those were. Um, yeah, what an awesome game. Syracuse needed that win so bad.
So bad.
So bad. I can't even describe if they lost and they were 1-3. That just would not be good. That would not be fun. I would be very curious to see what the vibes were over at Syracuse. So now we're 2-2. Got another game coming up this week against Duke. That should be a win, but we'll get to that later. Hopefully get them back in the win column. But Notre Dame had a great first half. They went up 10-6, so pretty decent lead there by 4. Came out, Cuse came out firing in the third, putting up 6 goals, winning the third and fourth quarter, and they had 4 goals in the fourth.
Yeah, that game, I've said it before. I'll continue to say it. I think Notre Dame has a lot of energy. You consistently see their sidelines as the season goes on being super active. The cameras point to them when they score a goal because they know it's going to be an insane celebration. So there's always a lot of energy going out there and being inside their facility. It's very close. The bleachers that they have where the fans are, it's very close to the field. Feels very intimate
Mm-hmm.
almost. So high energy there for sure. It sounded loud on the broadcast. And then, just watching the game in general, there was a lot of good things that happened for both teams, but also there was some things that could have been better, but I guess that's any game ever. And for Cuse, we had Liv Adamson, who's been playing absolutely amazing this season. We have Nat Smith, had a big day as well, both of them putting up 4 goals. And for Notre Dame, Jackie Wolak, the best. She put up 5 goals. Love her. Her game's awesome.
Jackie Wolak is very good. Had 5 goals in one game, like against a top opponent. So it's not like they're just playing some, I don't know, lower ranked team. But yeah, she is very good. She is standing out this season.
Yeah, really happy for her. Notre Dame's still a great team. I think if from this loss, there's nothing to be kind of shaken up about. If anything, it's going to be motivation for them moving forward because I think that they know the potential they can play to. And even though the stat game is pretty even across the board, um, this should not be something that stops Notre Dame's momentum moving forward, especially as they head into this next week. They've got big matchup, another big matchup that we will divulge later.
Yeah, we got so many good games coming up this weekend. But before we get to that, our next game that we had was Clemson at Duke. I had picked Duke. Meg picked Clemson, so she picked that one correct. Clemson did win 20-11. They handled Duke without a problem. Duke won the first 3-2. Very low scoring and very slow start. And then Clemson just came firing out of the gates. Explosive second quarter. They scored 9 goals in one quarter compared to Duke's 4. Clemson ended
Insane.
up winning the last 3 quarters.
insane. Putting up 9 goals in the third quarter, that's a sure win
Yeah.
most of the time. It's a sure win. Um, because, just in case some people don't know, each quarter is 15 minutes. So that is an insane goal per minute ratio for the
Yeah.
third. So happy for Clemson. They were led by Claire Boxty. If I say that wrong, apologize. She has 3 goals in this game. Clemson, though, was also very well rounded on their offense. They had more than 6 goal scorers on the day, which is so awesome, especially against a fellow ACC team. And for our Blue Devils, we had Katie Simone, another fantastic player down there in Duke. She had 5 goals on the day, which was awesome for her. And I think something that we're seeing that we haven't seen from Duke in the past 5 years at least was they're kind of struggling on the draw a little bit this season, which completely understandable. For the past couple of years, they've had Maddie Jenner, who was absolutely dominant on the draw. Making a draw plan against her was very difficult just from an outside perspective. I wasn't even on the draw circle, nor was I taking it against her.
Yeah, were you
However,
struggling on the draw circle?
yeah, I was having a really hard time. But no, she's a very talented player. So filling her shoes, no easy feat. And we kind of saw a little bit of the struggle here with Clemson winning the draw control game. They won 24 draws compared to Duke's 11. So you know what we're going to say. I'm not
They
even
can
going to say it, but you know what I'm going to say.
they can fill in
So
the blank by now.
they can figure it out, yeah. But yeah, no, big day for Clemson, awesome ACC win, and excited to see them progress. They've got some transfers that came in, very talented players. They've got some good freshmen that came in. They're growing within their sophomore and junior classes. So cool stuff. And they've got their new facility, which looks absolutely amazing. Really,
Yeah,
really
it
cool.
looks so awesome. Can they have us out there? I don't know what we
I
would
would,
do. Maybe we could like interview some players for our podcasts. I don't know, but it looks sick and I want to go.
yeah. So good job, Clemson. Amazing. And
Yeah.
then, oh, what I also wanted to say about this game that I was like looking at as I was kind of going through some stats was for Duke, they had 25 fouls in the game, and 12 of them were in that third quarter, where Clemson only had 12 fouls throughout the entire game. Similar to like turnovers and draw controls, you want to limit your fouls obviously as much as possible because the more you foul, the more opportunities you give the other offense to score or to kind of progress down the field wherever the foul happens. And especially if you're committing fouls in the 30s now, we've got those green cards coming out. That's a man up, man down, or woman up, woman down power play, whatever you want to call it. On this TV, they call it power plays, but I can't. That doesn't sound right coming out of
I
my mouth
can't get
for women's
behind that.
lacrosse.
That sounds like
It
hockey and I
doesn't.
really can't get behind it.
It sounds exactly like hockey. I'm like, I can't really get behind it. So say what you want. I won't be saying it like that.
Just say
But
woman up.
to
If you
yeah,
don't want to say like
I just
man
won't
up,
say.
just say woman up. But like why do we need to say power
I'm just
play?
not going to
That's
say
not
power
our
play.
sport.
I don't know. I don't make the rules. But
Clearly people aren't asking us for our opinion.
But yeah, I think when you kind of have that kind of day on the draw, and then you're committing more, you're doubling the fouls that the other team is. It's a hard day in the office. Hard day in the office, and we saw Clemson kind of take advantage of that, I want to say.
Yeah. Well, great ACC win for Clemson. Excited to see them the rest of the season. Our next game, another really big game on the weekend, another big upset.
Huge, huge, huge.
We had Florida beat Maryland in overtime. What a huge win. I was so pumped for Florida. They avoided their almost first 0-3 start in program history, and they avoided that by getting this win. So that's huge for them, huge for their season. Great confidence boost. Hopefully they're turning the corner here early in the season and only going up from here. But Emily Heller came in clutch and scored that overtime winner. I mean, who else? Who else?
Who else?
And why not her? So shout out Emily Heller. That was huge. What a great game that they all had, just to seal that win against Maryland. But I love a good upset. Now that we're not playing and we're not really involved, I love a good upset. Like that is so fun to watch. Yeah, I was unfortunately watching the live stats. Couldn't get to the live stream. Don't know why every game just can't be on ESPN Plus or whatever, but was watching the live stream, and once I saw that they won, I was very excited for them.
Yeah, I think also, not to say this, but Maryland's field, like their lacrosse complex, I guess you want to call it, they don't really have the best streaming. It they have the cameras there. Obviously, it's for like the Big Ten network and all that, but it's really hard to kind of follow almost. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I just like don't love the streaming on there. Don't
I
love the Big Ten
agree.
streaming. It's not for me.
Them, like
Um,
Loki, I would say ACC is probably doing the best at their streaming, but honestly, like the Notre Dame live stream was not great. And maybe because it's in that
like
not
Fieldhouse.
good, crappy field house. Yeah. Maybe because it's in there, but I mean the Syracuse live stream or ACC stream, not to be biased, but like you can't beat it. It is so good.
I think it's really good too. I
Also,
think
question.
yeah.
Maryland just redid their entire complex
I
locker
know.
room. Did they just forget about the fields? Like they couldn't just get
Also,
their own field?
their field is AstroTurf, which
Yeah, it's like
for
field
those who
hockey.
don't know, it's like a field hockey field because they do share that complex.
Yeah.
Um, but when you fall on that turf,
Oh my god, it's awful. I saw
the
one girl
pain.
fall. Um, it was like a Instagram clip or something from the game, and one of the girls fell, and I literally was like flinched. I was like, "Oh, that probably hurt her knees."
The turf burn that you get from AstroTurf is unlike anything else. I don't like
Yeah,
it
I wouldn't
hurts
wish
and
that upon
it's
my worst enemy.
it's like such a shallow cut, like little paper cuts all over your leg or your knees or elbows, wherever it is. Um, yeah, I'm just not an AstroTurf fan. I think you move really fast on it, like I feel quick, but is it worth the pain when you hit the ground? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
But
know. That must have gotten lost in the blueprints for the new facility.
yeah, I'm curious to see if that'll ever change or whatnot. But no, I wasn't a fan of the streaming. Uh, but another intense game, another overtime game against two awesome teams. And like Meg was saying before, super happy for Florida, kind of being able to see them come out at halftime and really get to work putting up goals. That's something we really haven't seen them do so far this season. We've kind of seen them kind of come out in games strong, and then as the third and fourth come, they kind of fall back a little bit. So seeing that improvement for their second half is great. So maybe moving forward, we're going to see a great first and a great second, and that's going to be a very dangerous Florida team to play.
Yeah, I agree. Good for Florida. Good for our former teammate Nicole Levy, who's coaching out there. So
Whoop
excited to
whoop.
see them come out on top. All right, upcoming games. What do we got coming up? We done with the last weekend games. Now let's look ahead.
Yeah, I think this week we're seeing a lot more teams kind of come into conference play. And one in particular, which I'm excited to watch, which is ACC, is UNC Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is going to come out firing on all cylinders. They're going to kind of want to come back into
Mhm.
this ACC play and kind of make their mark in the conference. And I think UNC, we also have them riding a little bit high because they had a very exciting game this past weekend. We didn't choose it for our picks. And looking back on it, what a mistake. What a mistake. That game, I was having my adrenaline was running. My adrenaline was pumping. I was like, I wonder who's going to win this game. Very, very into it.
So, question. Do you
Sure.
think they're riding a high from that game? Because in my head, I'm thinking you almost just lost to UVA. You should have handled them decently. Could have won by like 4-5 against them, and they took them to overtime. So like in my head, that's like not it's a win, obviously. So it's one in the win column, but it's not like a great win. So I don't know. If I was them, I would still like have a fire lit under me. Like I wouldn't let that get to my head. But yeah, we didn't include it because I don't think it should have gone to overtime. And so UVA put up a fight.
Yes, they did. And the one thing I was really impressed with when I was watching this game was UVA's defense. They made it incredibly hard for UNC to get in the eight. There's people cutting, but they were making it really hard to find the looks. They had their zone kind of shifting back and forth. Their sticks were big up in the air. And UNC predominantly dodges. They predominantly dodge, so
Hmm.
they were trying to really
Yeah.
break through at the top of the eight, and that wasn't working. And then when they got to a certain point, there's a certain feed, like a pass, that I cannot stand. I it's in my head. This is my own opinion. This it's a
It's illegal.
very unsuccessful pass is when you're coming across like the top of the eight and someone cuts underneath, kind of closer to the crease, and you make a top down pass just here to here. So, like they're directly in front of you. That pass is going nowhere. The person's back's going to be to the cage. You're passing it
Hmm.
straight at them. It's a very unsuccessful pass. And watching the UNC offense throw that pass against UVA, I was
Meg
I was
almost lost her mind.
like I was losing it because you got to make that pass sooner when they're on the run, so they're coming across, or you just got to let it go because they're not going to be open. They're going to be covered. Just move the ball. So I think I agree with Meg. I think maybe that game shouldn't have gone to overtime, but I do believe overtime wins bring momentum for
Fair,
teams.
fair. Um, yeah, that's like number one rule. Don't pass it to a girl if her back is to the goal, especially
Can't
top down.
be, especially top down feeds against a zone two where you know the pipes are
Oof.
going to crash,
Yeah.
but it's
Good
okay.
luck. You better catch that and get ready to take a hit.
Yeah,
You're
literally.
fighting for your life in there. Um,
But yeah,
but yeah,
big
so we have
matchup.
UNC Notre Dame.
Mhm.
Yep, big matchup. Another one I'm very excited for. I don't know which game this weekend is my favorite, but I'm very excited for Maryland versus Denver because this is a good opportunity for Denver to get a statement win. So they beat Louisville. Okay. They beat Ohio State. Sure. Beat San Diego State. Yeah. You should win all those games. They lost to Michigan. If they want to get their name back in there and sort of not back in there, obviously, they're top 10 still, but if they want to climb up a little bit, they need to come out with a win against Maryland. So I'm very excited for this if they can fight back. Hopefully, it's a good game. I think Maryland can win and should win, but I would love for Denver to prove themselves and come out on top. Um,
Yeah, I think also exciting just to watch the game because on Maryland, we're seeing some pretty talented players, some pretty great offensive flows coming out of Maryland. So seeing that kind of talent on offense go against this solid defense, it's going to be a really exciting matchup. So if you have the opportunity to watch some good offense, some good defense, tune in to this game.
yeah.
It should be
And
pretty great.
this game against Maryland for Denver will lead them into, including Maryland. So the next three games, including Maryland, will be their only hard games left the rest of the season if they perform how they should. So they go Maryland to Northwestern and then to Stony Brook. So those they got three games right ahead that should be pretty good matchups for them to sort of keep getting better, learning, but also hopefully learning from a win, not a loss. But other than that, then they're going Stanford, UConn, Georgetown, Colorado, Marquette, Butler, Arizona State, Villanova, Yale, and Xavier. So this is sort of like their last three games to see some competition before probably the tournament if they're performing how they should. So interesting thing to keep an eye on.
It's an
But yeah,
interesting scheduling decision too.
I know you would think
You might
you
want to
would
spread
break
that one
those
out.
up. Yeah, you should
Maybe it's for
spread those
travel
up.
purposes though.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. Yeah, maybe it's their spring break, and so they're hitting Northwestern and Stony Brook all like back to back.
Yeah, I guess.
Um,
Um,
yeah, because it's a Friday, Monday, so it's got to be.
I'd assume
I don't
so.
know.
That's a quick turnaround.
Yeah,
That's a quick turnaround. Keep your eyes out on this, guys. That's a aggressive turnaround for those two teams.
yeah.
Um,
Denver, Stony Brook will be good, but
that'll
that's
be a good game.
ways away. Anyways, Liberty versus Duke also playing this weekend. Good chance for Liberty to get an ACC win. Duke's not playing too great right now, sort of on the struggle bus. So good chance for Liberty to sort of come out on top there and get a nice ACC win. Um, yeah, and then we have Navy at Richmond. Should be a pretty good matchup.
That should be a good
It's
matchup.
yeah, about 17 versus 20, depending on the ranking you're looking at. So yeah, that'll be a good matchup. Good game to watch this weekend. Another one we have UMBC. We got attacker Colby Whedon versus Mount St. Mary's. Mackenzie Furlong, two of their top players, going head to head this weekend. I think there's some rivalry between UMBC and Mount St. Mary's. I don't know why I think that honestly, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Someone let me know if I'm wrong, but that to me seems like a good matchup. And then we've got Clemson versus UVA.
And then we've got one more that we didn't talk about
Who?
at the top. At
Wait.
the top.
Oh,
We got a
did
rematch,
we skip
guys.
over them?
Yeah. We got a rematch,
Oh my
guys.
god. Wait.
Big national championship game rematch, week 4. We've got number 1 BC playing the now ranked number 3 Northwestern. What do we
Wow.
think? What do we think?
Who do you guys think's gonna win? I don't know who I think's gonna win. I'm
I
gonna have
think
to
that's
think
going to
about
be,
this before we make our picks. I might
I
lose
know,
sleep over that.
Meg's tossing and turning, guys.
uh,
I think that's going to be a really, really good game. I think last year, last year's national championship game, Northwestern demolished. Like it wasn't.
actually, like
I don't even know if you can consider
comical.
it. I
Sorry.
don't.
I mean, we lost, but it was comical.
I don't even know if you can like consider it a game at that point. It was more of like it was
They
bully
bullied
ball.
Boston.
That
They
was
bullied Boston
bully
College.
ball, and I'm excited to see how BC kind of responds here. And like we've been talking about some transfers that they got this season. So interested to see how that impact is going to go. Really don't know. I think BC right now they're standing at 5-0. I don't believe they've really faced some
Mm-hmm.
tough competition yet, like Northwestern has.
Classic.
So to be able to have that kind of competition under your belt, be in those high pressure situations earlier in the season, and then playing against someone who hasn't really seen that yet, I think we'll really be seeing how BC is going to react here. But yeah, I'm really curious. I'm really excited to watch that one. And when we post our picks, you will know.
You will know who we pick.
You will know who we
Um,
picked
when we post our picks. It's crazy how that
when we
works.
post our picks.
Did we cover underneath them?
I do believe so. Or we just kind of you talked about it earlier. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, Princeton Rutgers matchup this weekend. That should be a great game. Would love to see Rutgers come out on top there. Shout out Reese Robinson, freshman at Rutgers. My little what's the word? Protege?
Yeah, I guess you can
Prodigy?
say that.
Prodigy? Um, yeah,
Protege.
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 But yeah, depending on the ranking you're looking at, of course, because they all want to be different, you got 22 versus 23. So we're going head to head in the rankings for that game. Very excited to tune in.
Yeah, Meg. So
Anyone
after
got
last week, we had numerous inquiries about Meg's feelings about rankings. And I think this week's rankings are my favorite. I think this week I love the mix up. It's like you just took a bowl of salad and just shook it up, and then this was the rankings. I think we're seeing so much movement just within the top 10, people kind of bumping in and out. And one team that I was kind of surprised at is I don't think, if we're looking at the top 20, we've got Michigan at 5. And I understand they're undefeated and they did have that big win against Denver, but I'm not sure how I feel about that one. And I do like
Yeah.
Michigan. I'm just not sure how I feel about it. Um, but I think I do agree with the rest of the rankings. And even though they look kind of different on different platforms, I think it's I think it's a pretty fair lineup if that's how
Yeah.
we want to use it.
All right, cool. Well, from there, not much going on in the lacrosse world, I'd say right now. Nothing too crazy. I want to keep an eye on Lemoyne and Brown. Brown is 3-0. They beat UMass Albany Sacred Heart. They have their first conference game against Harvard this weekend, so they're opening up Ivy League play. So I want to keep an eye on them. New coaching staff with Katrina Dowd, see what she can do. Also want to keep an eye on Lemoyne. Beat Cal, got crushed by Cornell. I'm sorry, but they play Niagara next, another in-state game for them. So I want to see how they do for their first season in D1. For those that listened to the podcast last week, you heard us talking about W Lax Nut, the Twitter account that is like the biggest Northwestern fan for some reason. I don't like Northwestern could lose every single game and they think they are the best team ever, which they are. They are a great team. But I need to know who is running this account. And they heard our podcast. Someone let them know that we were talking about them. They are tweeting back and forth at us, and I don't know, but
It's
I
pretty
just,
engaging and
yeah,
they were nice. So that
they
was
were nice,
kind.
but I'm
That
not
was
letting it
kind.
fool me. It's not fooling me. They, whatever, they're so biased.
We'll figure it out. We'll get to the bottom of it.
I just need to know who's running the account. It's gotta be like a Northwestern relative, parent. Maybe it's Izzy Skane's dad running it.
No, it is
Just kidding.
not.
I'm just kidding. I know him and I like him, so I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But anyways, Loyal Hopkins played this past week. It was a close game. I think Hopkins is trying to make a name for themselves with Tim McCormick over there. Um,
Great
yeah,
coach.
great coach
Never been coached by him, but he does coach well as playing against him.
for sure. And then Northwestern and Colorado. Colorado was they were within 5. It's pretty
That's a
not
close
too
game.
shabby.
Yeah, it's a close game. I will say it looked like it was negative 10 degrees out in Colorado. Like when you see people wearing sweatpants, you know it's cold.
While playing?
Yeah, or it looked like it. Could have been
Oh my
leggings, but if you see people that are like wearing sweats, you know it's cold or something that looks similar to sweats. Um, so not to throw weather in as a factor. However, I'd be cold too. I'd be chilly. My hands would be
yeah,
frozen on my stick.
for sure. Definitely would not be warm. That's for sure. I can tell you that for free. Um, Izzy Skane hit 300 goals. She's only 57 from Charlotte North to set the all-time scoring record in the NCAA. I believe. Did
She's
I
gonna
say
hit
that
it,
correctly? Oh,
right?
for sure.
Knock on wood. Don't want to jinx that.
57. How many games do you think they have left?
They've played. They've played 4. They
4,
probably have like guaranteed 10 left.
10.
Guaranteed. That's just regular season. That doesn't even include Big Ten play. But
Yeah. She's going to need about 5 to 6 goals a game.
let's go, Izzy. Come on, Izzy.
Let's go, Skane Train. Let's see what you can do. Is
That's
that you?
me. Yeah. Guys, my local fire department is sending off a signal right now, if you can hear it.
Wow.
Great. That's not loud.
Yeah, that is loud.
Should I be concerned?
All right, cool guys. Let's get into some of our questions from the followers. Number one, what is your go-to stick, favorite setup, stringing, go-to brand? Meg, you can go first.
Of course. No problem. So I like to keep my stick very basic.
A tennis racket.
Similar, yeah. Okay, well that's a different form of basic, but I like to use I use Gate products, and I love their stick, and I like very basic stringing. Some people like mesh. I can't get behind it. I need the regular rail pocket with the leathers, not the little plastic beads on them, just the leathers and string with the Gate Air head. I also like the Air 2, but I don't like to play with a whip in my stick. So, like Meg mentioned before, I keep my pocket pretty flat. So everything, like wherever I throw it, I know where it's going to go and I don't have to like move my body to get it there. It'll just go. So I like to use, yeah, Gate Air, rail pocket, just leathers. And yeah, that's if I could use that stick forever, if I were to play forever, then I would because it just works.
Yeah, I agree. It just gets the job done. Very similar. I like Gate. They just have such amazing products. They're changing the game with each product they can come out with. Gary, our former coach, is a part of that and making a
Coach
change
Gate, woo!
for both men and women. So definitely love Gate and what they're doing for the sport of lacrosse. But yeah, I was using Apex. I prefer actually hand strung by Gary himself. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, um,
No, Gary
his
is
hands,
very talented stringing sticks. I wish I knew how
and
to
I
do that.
can,
That's like really impressive. It's a really impressive skill and
yeah.
very useful. Very useful.
And let me tell you, I can tell when it's strung by him or factory strung. But both are great. We were spoiled for the first 3 years of our college career, and he would string me up a stick, and it was the best thing ever. So I prefer mine traditional leathers, rail, like Meg said. Same there. I'll have a little bit more of a pocket than she does. That's just how I was taught to play, playing boys lacrosse. That's just what I learned. So that's sort of my go-to Gate, anything and everything, stick, shaft. They're flex mesh, great product. Use that for a little bit, but then just went back to the good old traditional.
Keeping it simple, but yeah, a lot of people are fans of the mesh, which
Hmm.
I had a tough time with that, like trying to use it because it just changes all the time. It's
Yeah,
never just one depth. It changes all the time. So I couldn't get behind it.
yeah,
Could
that's
not.
definitely probably too much of a pocket for you. I will say though, Gate is like the best product for anyone starting out, beginner or expert. Like, it is literally the best product. You can find it at your local sporting goods. You can find it at your local lacrosse store. You can find it online. But yeah, they have draws, they have defense, they have attack, midi, all different heads for what position you play. So just test them out, figure out what you like best. I'd say flex mesh is like the best for beginners. You don't have to worry about making a pocket; it's just there for you. But we started playing the traditional, so that's sort of what we knew best, and so we just stuck with that to finish out our career. But anyways, go get your Gate product at your local
Woo!
store. As what spring lacrosse season starting. So yeah, any high
Yeah, that
schoolers, middle
starts
schoolers,
relatively
pretty soon. I guess depending on where you
pretty
live.
pretty soon. Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know if when it starts in like March here.
Yeah, it was earlier for us, but Anyways, it's around the corner. All right, next question. Favorite drill on the practice plan and least favorite drill?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Or do you want to start? Okay, my favorite drill was True North, and I wish I could explain it to you, but it is low key a little bit complex to explain. But once you like play it, it makes a lot more sense. It's basically like a man up, man down drill, and it used to get so competitive. It was like people would start getting mad at each other for real. So that was fun, be competitive. Playing man up, man down is a lot of fun. And then my least favorite drill is 3 goal stick work. I actually had to take a breath before saying that just because we only did it, like, guys, we only did this drill once or
No.
twice.
Twice, maybe 3 times. Definitely more than once.
Okay, so we did like a handful of times we did this drill. And whenever it was given to us on the practice plan, I would go into that practice
Shaking in my
miserable.
boots.
Miserable. This drill, it was a conditioning drill. And it was basically just like 100-yard sprints with you have to shoot at the end and then you have to run all the way back. It was, and we would do it for so long. We would do it for
Yeah.
so long. It was so tiring. So that one, that was probably my least favorite one. We only did that for 1 year though,
Yeah.
and then we
And never saw
never.
it again.
Thankfully, I am very thankful that that drill kicked it after that season because it was just not fun. Not fun, but good to get your steps in. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely gets your heart rate up. I'll tell you that. Um, my favorite drill would either be 3v2 GLE
It's a good one.
or Rowan.
Good one. Rowan's so much
I'd
fun.
probably lean more towards 3v2 GLE or Army. I started like that towards the end.
Yeah, Army was fun.
Um, but yeah, 3v2 GLE is just your most like simple. Anyone can do it. It's fun, it's fast moving, it's creative, it's loose. But yeah, you can be creative doing it and just try new things, which is always fun. We would do it in practice, day before a game, and then during our warm up, like for a game. So I love that. We definitely did it so much. But Rowan is a good man up. I just love anything man up.
Yeah, as attackers, it's or anyone who plays offense, man up's the thing to do.
West Jenny was fun in terms of like getting competitive, but that's like kind of conditioning itself as well. So,
Yeah, that was conditioning, but it
and
was fun.
yeah, it's very fun, but it is also so frustrating and annoying if you're on the losing team or if your team loses. Like that shit gets real. West Jenny gets so intense. Like that is literally life or death. There's gonna be tension afterwards until practice is over. But
Yeah, that was always a tough one to throw in the middle of practice because you know it would throw off the rest of practice.
hmm
Um, but it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of teams play West Jenny, but I don't know what other people call it because I know not everyone calls it that. So
yeah.
if you play a 3v3 continuous, similar or West Jenny, let us know what you call it because I'm very curious to know what other people call that drill.
Yeah. My least favorite, yeah, 3 goal stick work, but I'm trying to think of a different one that I just never liked. Oh, I hated the stick the warm up drill, like stick warm up, where it's a group of four. So you have one person on the like two people on the outside and then two people in the middle, and you're
Oh,
just
four
going.
person passing?
Yeah, is that what it's called?
I think so, yeah.
I did not like that one.
Wait, do you remember the one where there was 6 posts down the field and you just ran in circles, throwing
Yes,
it and catching it?
yes.
Whatever that drill was. Oh, oh man. That one I just like thought of when you talked about passing. That drill was also very difficult. And it was basically you'd have 6 people that were standing, and most of the time it was like the injured people. And you would just
Yeah.
run in a circle around the field, like catching and throwing the balls to the posts. And you had to move pretty quick. It wasn't like a jog. You were
No,
you
you
were
were you
moving
were
around the
full
field.
stride.
So that drill also wasn't that great. Was not that great, but what are you gonna do?
Um, yeah, what was another one that I just hated to see? I'm trying to I don't even know where my group me app is these days. There it is. Let's see. Let's see some old practice
What about
plans like
just like the
Gary had sent.
classic 1v1s?
Oh dear gosh. I like them
What about
in
those?
certain forms. So like 1v1 from a 5v5, I don't really care for that one. Um
Okay.
I like four spot 1v1, so you're in a
Yeah.
box and you catch it off of a pass and just get to do a 1v1. I don't mind that one. Um oh my god, you know what drill I loved was I think it was called Navy, right? It was like
ODO, that one?
what?
Like ODO,
Maybe.
like
No, it was
offense,
like a
defense, out.
1v1 into like a 2v2, I think. Yeah. Like top bottom.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That one, if you start off in that one in the 1v1, that was no, good or bad.
Bad. Okay, I'm going through our 2018-2019 Cuse coaches group me. So the one
Our
with like
freshman year.
Gary, Reggie, literally our freshman year. I just scrolled to May 13th, 2019. Never mind. Warm up, keep away boxes. I hated those. I can't even explain how much I hated those. Full field fast breaks. Oh, those are actually fine for us on attack.
Yeah, that's easy.
Those poor
That's a
middies.
that's a midi drill.
Yeah. Um, 2v2 and I'd rather do 1v1s than 2v2s and 3v3s.
I don't love 3v3s, but I like 2v2s.
Let's see. This is so funny. OD divide.
Classic.
Miss that. That one's not bad. This is so funny. Wow, this is like unlocking so much. Defo defend the dome. We didn't really do much for that. 5v4 continuous short field. Wow. For
Just
those
a
that
walk
don't
down
know,
memory lane.
yeah, for those that don't know, I don't know if other schools do this. Like, do other schools send in a practice plan the night before practice so that they know what they're doing?
Yeah, I think that's an NCAA rule or something like that.
Oh, then never mind. I will take back what I was going to say.
Yeah. I
Um,
think it's a rule. I'm not entirely sure,
well, I'm
but
curious. We won't turn anyone in. Just let us know if you guys do that or not. Not gonna anonymous tip anyone. Um,
moving on. Meg, what
anyways,
was your favorite traveling experience? That's a good question. That's a good question.
wow. That I'm sorry. Going through those practice plans just literally unlocked so many memories. Anyways, favorite traveling experience probably spring break, sophomore year, down to Florida. Literally nothing could beat that. Nothing could beat that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Stayed in these awesome houses. It was so warm.
Wait, was that I wanted Meg, that was freshman year, I think.
Yeah, freshman year.
Oh, you said sophomore year.
Well, I thought in my head, not sophomore year, so maybe then I said sophomore year.
Oh, yeah, no, it was our freshman year. That was also my favorite traveling experience as well. Really,
Hmm.
really cool. Got to go down to Florida during spring break when it was very cold and Cuse. So, and it was good for team bonding too. Got to know a lot of the girls a lot better, which is always great, especially
Yeah.
earlier in the season. So, yeah, I would definitely say that Florida trip was fun. We were there for a couple days
They would have
practicing.
it, yeah. They would have it set up so we would play someone on the front end of spring break and then no one until the end. And usually Florida was the very end. And on the
Yeah.
front end, like we played Maryland, I'm pretty sure, or was it flip flopped? No, I think we
Wait, no, we
played
played
Maryland.
Maryland, Florida, and then like Louisville,
Oh yeah,
and
like
then
yeah,
went
yeah,
home
yeah,
from
Louisville.
Louisville. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
Wow.
cool though. If you had to be there, I guess. But really fun experience.
um. All right. Next question: Apple Watch or Whoop? Do you wear both, and did you wear them while playing? Hmm.
So I actually don't have my Whoop on right now. It's charging, but I like I kind of feel like they do different things.
They do.
Like you can use
They
them for
do.
the same thing, but like Apple Watch, if I'm wearing it, it's more so for like if someone texts me and I just like want to look at it, or like I don't know, a notification that pops up, maybe my phone's not around. But for Whoop, I really kind of trust that one more as far as like
Fitness.
information goes.
Hmm.
I feel like it's just kind of more accurate overall. And then it also is nice to have like an alarm. So like I have the one for my wrist. So if you don't know with the Whoop, you can set an alarm that goes off and it basically just vibrates your wrist when you want to wake up. And you do wake up. It's not a little tap. It vibrates for like 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
your body will wake up from it. So I tried to wear it when I played, but it was just uncomfortable. So I did not wear it when I played. And I think you did though, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would. So I wore both. I haven't worn either in I don't know how long. If you know me, that is like
A big deal.
very a big deal.
That's
Very
a big
surprising.
deal.
I don't know.
Snaps.
I just like don't see any point now. Like I wore them while I was playing because I wanted to see my sleep on my Whoop. I wanted to see the strain I was doing while practicing or after a game, but I wore both and like Meg said, they're very different. They can be the same, but if you're comparing them for the same thing, then the Whoop is way better. The Whoop is way more accurate, way more in depth in terms of fitness tracking and health tracking. But the Apple Watch is nice because it has like the time and the notifications and those things that like the Whoop doesn't watch. So when I wore them, I'd wear both. I would practice in both. In games, I couldn't wear my Apple Watch and there's no point, but I would wear the Whoop and like they have a sports bra specifically for it. So I would wear that sports bra for games and wear my Whoop in there. And so I thought that was really cool to see how hard I'm working throughout a game and then being able to keep an eye on my sleep post game or like post a tough practice or leading up to a game to be able to sort of dial that in. But now that I'm not playing, I like knowing how I sleep isn't really going to change how I go about my day. I pretty much go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. I'm not performing at a very high level right now, so I'm not too concerned about my sleep performance and how it's going to affect my body. I feel like I'm pretty intuitive with my sleep, and I don't really need it to know that I worked out. Like I'm sort
That
of
is
over
called
that
growth.
I'm sort
That
of
is
over
called
that
growth.
phase, and it really drives me crazy when people are like, "I didn't wear my Apple Watch. I didn't work out." Like I'll wear my Apple Watch if I'm going for a run, so I know how many miles I'm at. Um, but I don't lift with either on anymore because I don't need it to tell me how my workout was. I can just tell by how I'm feeling. So that's my 2 cents. But if you are in college or high school, I would recommend a Whoop.
If you're gonna commit to it, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
probably around the same price anyways. The Whoop actually might be cheaper than an Apple Watch, like the newer ones.
Well, the only thing about the Whoop is that it's a monthly subscription, where the Apple Watch is just a one-time purchase. So,
Yeah, but you could just pay for a year.
yeah, and then you gotta pay for if you're in college for 4 years and you wear the same Apple Watch all 4 years.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, the Whoop is definitely more expensive on the higher end. So if you're gonna get one, then you need to like,
You gotta commit to it.
yeah, use it. Pay attention to your sleep, your recovery, and yeah, help prevent some injuries maybe.
Yeah. This last question I'm actually loving. How common is trash talking during games? Other than some showboating during goal celebrations, doesn't seem to happen from watching the telecasts. Do any girls try that to get in opponents' heads, or is that not really part of the women's game? I wish it was. I really do. I wish it was more prominent. And I know that that might not be the most like appropriate thing to say, but I think it's so interesting watching other sports trash talk. Like, I don't know what they're saying because can't really figure it out, but watching other sports trash talk, it adds an element to the game. I don't know what it is, like makes it a little bit more competitive. You can really feel the energy kind of moving between those people who are trash talking each other. So, as far as from my experience, I think I've only experienced trash talking on like less than 5 times in my career. Um, at least on the field, there's people on the sidelines that say a lot of stuff, but you can't really take those to heart because they're not players. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I wish like I'm also just not. I don't know. Like if I were to trash talk, I don't even know what I'd say other than "you're dumb." Like that's not gonna offend anyone. Like I don't know
You
what I
can't
would
say
say.
that.
Um, I would more. I was more of like I don't even know what I would do to try and get under people's skin. But
It's fun to watch though
yeah,
when other people do it.
or like
So,
hearing about my teammates doing it, that was fun. But I don't know if anyone ever. I'm sure people like chirp you and say stuff here and there. Like I've definitely had been chirped, or like people make little comments like defenders do while we're playing, but not a single moment. There wasn't ever a single moment that is like engraved in my brain where I was like, "That girl, I can't believe she said that to me" or something. Like I don't really remember anything.
one of the funniest ones that sticks with me, it did happen to Meg. It didn't even happen to me. And we were playing Virginia in the ACC tournament, and we were down by like 8 or something. Like there was really, we probably weren't coming back that game. And Meg's defender goes, Meg's defender goes, so are you guys gonna bus out of here or are you flying home? And Meg, like, I don't remember what you said, but we like had a timeout or something, and Meg like calls me over and she's like, "You're never gonna guess what this girl just said."
I forgot about
And
that.
I lost my mind. Like, probably shouldn't have been laughing like that, but it was so funny. Like, the girl just calmly turns to her and is like, "So, like, you guys gonna leave tonight? Like, are you driving or flying?" And I was
The
like,
game's not even over yet.
game was not over, but kind of was over, but it wasn't over. And it was just that one. I don't even think she meant it in like a trash talky
Yeah, I
way.
know. I would love to know if she meant it like in a snarky way or if she genuinely was like, "Oh, are you flying or driving?"
Yeah, like I don't believe she meant it like that, but it's a good one. That's a
Wow,
good
who's
one.
my defender?
I don't remember her name,
I don't know either.
but if you're listening, that was a good one. And I
Hmm.
will laugh about that forever. So,
Yeah.
thank you. But yeah, I guess overall you don't really see a lot of it in women's lacrosse. Definitely happens in men's lacrosse.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, not very common at all. And most of the time, if there is a little bit of trash talk, it gets some weird looks from everyone else on the field. So,
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap for week 3. We got another full slate of games coming up this weekend. A lot of great games to tune into. Very excited to come back next week and recap those with you all. And I'm going to start thinking about who I'm going to pick for this week. So I don't lose sleep over that. And I want to get them all right. So,
yeah, that's going to be the goal. That's going to be the goal. It is the goal in general, but being the most accurate you can be, it's a good
yeah.
week.
And for those that do listen to this podcast, thank you. We will be having our first special guest on next episode. So
Woo!
feel free to take any guesses. Let us know who you want us to have on later on. Don't forget to use our question link in our Instagram bio. Keep submitting questions. But in the meantime, that's all I got.
Yeah, please. Thank you for tuning in. Really excited for this special guest. I think you guys are going to love her. Think you're going to love her. It'll be a really interesting conversation. And tune into lacrosse this week. Some amazing games coming up. Lots to learn, lots to watch. And Yeah, we'll check back in with you guys next week on the Meg Show for week 4, episode 4.